Tim Walz told a whopper of a lie about Project 2025, which is not Trump's thing. And also they tried to say that Trump was going to have pregnant women register so they can keep track of their pregnancies and stuff. So CNN did a random act of journalism and actually fact checked this. So keep in mind, this is my thing that I keep saying, and I think that Trump, the campaign, and other surrogates and stuff should adopt this principle that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, when they attack Trump, they attack like a fantasy. They smear. They go, oh, Project 2025, Project 2025. They don't talk about his actual agenda. They don't talk about Agenda 47. They don't talk about the Republican platform. They don't want to draw attention to those things. They only want it to be drawn to Project 2025. And even the thing that they say here in Project 2025 isn't even in Project 2025. It's just a lie. It's just not true. So they rely on these lies. Donald Trump relies on the truth about Kamala Harris. Those are his attacks. He just says, look at what she said about fracking. Look what she said about mandatory gun buybacks. Look what she said about getting rid of the private healthcare market. Look at all these things that she's done. She was a tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which was actually like a climate change bill and a green bill, and wasn't even much about reducing inflation, and it didn't reduce inflation. Like, he just points to things that actually happened and things that she actually supported. And Kamala Harris has to rely on these smear campaigns. So that's what I told the media, and that's what the Trump campaign and the surrogates and all these folks should just point out. Because not only are they lying on Trump, they're lying on Project 2025, and they're relying on the fact that it's 900 pages and no one is actually going to read it. Some people came at me about Project 2025, and so I looked up what they were talking about. I'm like, what they were talking about isn't even true. And some of the stuff is actually pretty good. So I only read a chapter. I don't want to read anymore because it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. But they're not even being honest about what's actually in it. So that's CNN did a random act of journalism, and I can't take credit for that claim by that phrase. Rush Limbaugh made it up. But here we go.
So first, let's listen to something that Governor Walz said about the Conservative Heritage Foundation think tank's initiative known as Project 2025.
Their Project 2025 is going to have a registry of pregnancies. It's going to make it more difficult, if not impossible, to get contraception and limit access, if not eliminate access to infertility treatments.
This claim, which Governor Walz has made before, is false. Project 2025's 900-page policy document is online. You can read it. I've read it. Nothing in it proposes to make anyone register their pregnancy with the government. What Project 2025 does propose is that the federal government takes steps to make sure it is getting from every state detailed after the fact anonymous data on abortion and miscarriage. The federal government already gets this data from almost every state on a voluntary basis. Project 2025 wants to make it mandatory for all states, but there's no pregnancy registration involved in this data collection today. Project 2025 doesn't propose to change that. And in fact, Tim Walz's own state of Minnesota already posts detailed after the fact anonymous abortion and miscarriage data online on the state health department website. There is no pregnancy registration in Minnesota, of course. And I should also note that while the governor referred to their Project 2025, it is not an initiative of the Trump-Vance campaign itself.
So there you have it. Random act of journalism from CNN. The whole Project 2025, but it's a boogeyman, guys. It's not even his agenda. And even the things that they claim about Project 2025 is not even accurate. It's not even accurate, which, by the way, the states do report this stuff, and it's on a voluntary basis. So if you go to the CDC and try to find out stuff about abortion and so on, and like, oh, the numbers are this. Some of those states don't even report. Like large states like California, for example, might be left out. So there's a lot of information that we don't have. And I don't understand why you wouldn't want to report things on miscarriages and so on, because what if you have some kind of like crisis where there's just some kind of health thing that's underlying that have caused more miscarriages to happen, and you guys don't want there to be data? Like accessible federal data about that stuff. But it's probably just they want to focus on the miscarriage thing because they don't want there to be like mandatory reporting on abortion stats and so on, because they don't want people to know how often they're doing it, what methods they're doing. to the babies, to kill them, to the reasons why, which they won't probably do the reasons, but they just don't want more data on it. They want it to be something that women just do and that people just shut up about it and keep their eyes closed. So, at the very least, though, if Republicans aren't going to do a better job, like advocating for the children and do all the stuff that I want them to do, they could at least just point out the fact that, if abortion is a necessary evil, let's go with that. Let's just grant the premise that abortion just has to be a necessary evil that we have in our society. Why is it that the Democrats seem gung-ho on just protecting abortion as opposed to creating a culture where women don't do this? And because if abortion is a necessary evil, it is still killing a child. And so that needs to be the last option, the very last option on the table. But Democrats oppose pregnancy crisis centers, for example. They really aren't too fond of informed consent. And they want to make it so that, minors and other folks can get abortions without their parents knowing. And then you might have a tragic situation where a minor dies without their parents even knowing that they've gone to get an abortion. And you don't want that to be the case. But the pro-abortion lobby, wants that to be the case. As soon as a woman wants an abortion, they don't want her will to be obstructed at all. When we as a society can at least try to convince the woman to not do the thing, even if we have to allow the thing to happen. And I don't agree that we should allow it to happen, but the Democrats don't seem keen on at least trying to convince her to not unalive her child. And that is a problem. That could at least be the bare minimum, but that is a choice that the Democrats are making to push abortion rather than to push a culture of life.